Hello everyone. Today on Binky's Gaming Thoughts, which Evanuris each old god could be associated with. This is an exploration and expansion on my previous theory, plus some new theories brought to light by Madar Pauser. One of Madar's theories is an expansion on mine, and the other one is an alternate. Obviously, my theory, as I've mentioned so many times in the past, is that the old gods could potentially be the Evanuris. Madar's theory, the alternate theory, would be that the old gods would be the high keepers of each Evanuris, thus taking inspiration from their masters, and then once becoming the old gods, taking on their own high priests and high priestesses. Imitating their masters. The expansion theory that Madar came up with would be that before locking the Evanuris up in the Fade, Solis would have sundered them, thus separating their souls from their bodies, and then locking their bodies up in the Fade, and then their souls in the deep roads, in the dragons, very far from each other, thus explaining two entities for one being, which obviously I like any theory that expands and explains better my theory. I'm a little bit biased on that, but there is something quite particular of the High Keeper theory that seems a bit more plausible. I've got to say that Madar's theories, either the High Keeper one or the expansion theory of the Sundering, would also explain why there are constellations associated for the old gods specifically and different constellations associated with the Evanuris. However, there is one constellation that is for both an old god and an Evanuris. So we can't base ourselves too much on the constellations because they have changed and their names have changed over time, and it's quite possible that the ones associated with the old gods were associated with different beings a long time ago, before the Tevinter Imperium took rise. So today the exploration will be more based on the High Keeper theory, which Evanuris each old god could be associated with. Obviously, this is speculation, and I could be wrong. If you have different theories, write them in the comments below. Dumat would be associated with Elgar'nan. Dumat, Dragon of Silence. Most powerful, the leader of the old gods. The one who led the others to usurping the Maker and his followers. Elgar'nan, God of vengeance, the eldest and all-father of the Evanuris. He leads the pantheon with Mythal. Elgar'nan also most likely led the others to betray Mythal. Zazikel would be associated with Andruil. Zazikel, Dragon of Chaos, sometimes referred to as the old god of freedom. Andruil was the goddess of the hunt, also known as blood and force, or the great hunter. Hunting can be chaotic, but also she was known as the goddess of sacrifice. Apparently, here followers would plead with her to not make them her prey and sacrifice. She had hunted to find the Forgotten Ones in the abyss, and created armor made from the void, and went mad. Mythal challenged her and took her memories, which means Flemeth and perhaps Solis now knows where to find the void. Just thought I'd insert that in there. Tote would be associated with Splaise. Tote is the dragon of fire. Not much more is known, to be honest. Splaise is the hearth keeper, sister of Andruil. She gave elves fire and taught them how to create potions. Andorral would be associated with Ghilan'nain. Andorral is the dragon of slaves, sometimes called Dragon of Unity, bringing together the slaves and keeping them in check, or loyal. Loyal Ghilan'nain is the mother of the Hala and the goddess of navigation, able to steer her herds. She created creatures, but kept only certain creatures after a truce with Andruil, who kept hunting these creatures. Urthemiel would thus be associated with June. Urthemiel, dragon of beauty and of crafts, was the fairest and most graceful of all the gods. Some believe he had a daughter, Urzara. She was also a dragon, but not an archdemon, and she was slain. Well, so is Urthemiel if we're keeping track, but whatever. June is the god of the craft, and brother to Andruil and Splaise, although he's sometimes described as Splaise's husband. His role apparently has changed throughout history. So basically we'd have to ask Solis, really. Razikali would be associated with Dirthamen. Razikali is the dragon of mystery. Little is known of her as she yet sleeps. Dirthamen is the keeper of secrets. Secrets, mystery, which are mysteries. He is the twin brother of Falon'Din. Dirthamen gave elves knowledge. There is no ignorance, there is only knowledge. Dirthamen was sometimes referred to as Falon'Din's reflection. Luzakan would then be Falon'Din. Luzakan is the dragon of night, and yet still sleeping. He is the only god who shares a constellation with an Evanuris. Tenebrium as the giant owl. Falon'Din is the friend of the dead and the guide, bringing those who die into the beyond. Les ténèbres means night, darkness, where the dead lie. In French, in Orlesian. He is sometimes referred to as Dirthamen's shadow, being his twin. As the guide, he takes the dead as they enter the night, their forever sleep. It is difficult to figure out who the 8th old god Draconis would be associated with. Either Mythal, maybe Solis, who knows? Especially if he turns out to be the maker. Link to that video. And he yet sleeps. We don't know what he is the dragon of. So that's why we can't say, is Draconis, the 8th old god, associated more with Mythal? Is he associated with Solis? My theory would be that if associated with an Evanuris, it would have to be Fen'Harel. Thus, either Solis would be himself the 8th old god, or he would have had a high keeper and no one heard of him, no one knows of him or her, and locked this 8th old god up. Because we know Mythal's spirit is not in a dragon's body. Mythal's spirit was in Flemeth until Solis took her essence. We're not exactly sure if she resides in Solis now, or if she's just floating about. So it can't be Mythal. And if it's the sundered separation theory, it can't be Fen'Harel. So who is it? Dum dum dum. But it's kind of exciting, the prospect of having been Solis's high keeper. And I believe regardless of who's high keeper, old gods related to Evanuris or not, I believe that Mythal's high keeper was Abelas. Let me know what you think in the comments below, who you would associate with whom. I'm curious to know. Like this video if you like it, subscribe to be Rosie approved, and I'll see you all soon. Masaranas. If you're new here and you like my content, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon for notifications. Alternately, you can follow my website, binkyproductions.com, where I post everything from all my channels. Be sure to check out some of my other stuff. You can also join in on the fun on Patreon for some random, sporadic, occasional, exclusive content. Otherwise, just liking and sharing, like it if you like it, for the like it if you like it dance, supports this channel and helps people find it. And your continued viewership is very much appreciated. Masaranas.